TDPK Podcasts, Thailand GameChanger, inside the minds of Thailand's innovators. Hi, this is Michael Waitze, and welcome back to Thailand GameChanger. Today, I am joined by Viranon Futrakul, a vice president, that was close, I think, a vice president of global partnerships for sustainability and communication at Charoen Pokphand Group, which is better known as the CP Group, right?
Yes.
How are you doing today? Can I call you Ake? That's okay, right?
Yes, you could call me Ake.
Ake, great.
Doing very well. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's good to have you here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can you give our audience a bit of your background for context?
Sure. I actually work for CP Group, as you said, and I've been with the company now for 16 years.
Has it been that long?
Yes. It actually was my first job.
That's incredible.
From when I graduated. And just a brief background, I studied at international school.
Okay.
In Thailand. Okay. Until I was 12.
Until you're 12.
And then I went off to boarding school in England.
In England? You don't have an English accent at all.
No.
Did you?
But I did at one point, but there's a story after that.
Go ahead.
Was that I spent 6 years in England.
Okay.
But before that, I had an American accent.
Oh, right. Because you went to international school here.
Yeah, because I went to international school. And after that, after over 6 years did my GCSEs and A-levels in England.
Right.
I went to Canada.
Oh, okay.
To complete my bachelor's and master's degree.
Did you really?
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to get rid of your English accent.
Yes.
When I was a little boy, I grew up in Boston. I had a very deep Boston accent.
I cannot detect that accent at all.
At all, it's gone. It was scared out of me when I moved to New Jersey, and then once I moved to Connecticut, Connecticut is like the flattest, most banal accent there is in the United States. So nobody can tell. And then I moved to Japan when I was 24. So I haven't had any accent impact since I was 24 years old. For me, it's a big benefit because I get to do this.
Yeah.
No one can tell where I'm from.
Okay. I cannot tell that Boston accent.
It's gone. When you went to boarding school, was that a choice you made, or was that something that your parents wanted you to do? And is it kind of a thing that your family just does? Do you know what I mean?
Well, actually, I would say it was a privilege.
For sure.
And the reality is I had a choice.
You did?
Yes, I had a choice to leave. It was my father and grandmother who supported me in that. But they gave me a choice to go to the States for boarding school or go to the UK.
Interesting.
For boarding school.
Where in the States would you have gone if it was in the US?
I probably would have gone, somewhere along the northeast.
So like Andover, Exeter, Northfield, Mount Herman, one of those places.
Yeah, one of those places. But I chose the UK.
But why?
Well, that's actually when I grew up, the history lessons that I was taught in school.
Right.
I was actually fascinated by the UK and the history and the systems.
That's awesome.
And the funny thing was, I was actually into the medieval times.
Oh wow! Okay.
So with the knights and the armor and things like that.
Right.
So I was kind of enthralled in that culture and history. Yeah, that's
so. It was really good to go live in the place where all of that stuff originated.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's kind of cool. Do you remember that feeling of having to make that choice? And did you think it was strange that your family gave you a choice?
It was strange. It was a shock at the beginning.
Right.
I wasn't expecting that. Right. And I had to make a choice in a very, very short period of time.
Pretty quickly, right.
And I had, I think, 2 or 3 months to decide.
Right.
And I left. When I left in the middle of 7th grade.
Oh my.
Yeah. So it was the middle of school term. And
that's really hard to do, actually. It's unsettling in a way for a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other things going on in your life. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. And it was quite an experience. Yeah.
How do you feel like that experience kind of changed your life?
Well, it was something that came as a shock.
Right.
But what I learned from that was that you really can adapt no matter where you're at.
It's a good point.
And So for some people, it takes time.
Right.
Luckily, I tend to be open to new things. So it took a while, but yeah, I got used to it and I loved it. Yeah.
Do you still lean on that now? In other words, do you think about somewhere on the back of your brain when you have to do something new or adapt to a new situation? Like, I've been through this before and I was doing this really early. Do you lean on that now still?
Oh, for sure. Right. And it's in really everyday actions. You adapt to new people you meet.
Absolutely.
Like our meeting today.
Exactly.
And you tend to, you become open.
Right.
To all experiences and all people, really.
Okay. I want to ask you a little bit about work as well. Sure. In your title, right, Global Partnerships for Sustainability and Communication, how does sustainability fit into CP's overall strategy? And what role do these partnerships play, or do you expect them to play?
Sure. Well, just starting off about CP Group.
Right.
CP Group this year is 100 years old.
I know that.
And
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
That's a really big deal.
Thank you. Well, it was founded in 1921. But the thing is, at our company, we have what's called a 3 benefit principle.
What's that?
And what it is really is wherever we operate or conduct our business, we have to benefit the country where we operate. We have operations now in 21 countries.
Right.
You have to benefit the society, the people there, before you can benefit the company. And that has been our company's foundation principle, core principle, since it was founded. So at the end of the day, your company, your business has to benefit the people first.
Can you talk about this a little bit more for me, if you can?
Sure.
And that is, I want people to understand, people in Thailand will definitely understand the sort of founding story around the CP Group.
Yes.
But if you could delve into that just a little bit for our listeners that are overseas, so they can understand why what you just said is actually so significant. Can you tell a little bit of the founding story? Sure.
CP Group was actually founded from a seed shop, a vegetable seed shop.
Right.
Started by 2 brothers.
Right.
Who came over from China. Wanted to start a new business, new life in Thailand. And they started off by selling vegetable seeds in Chinatown.
That's awesome.
And the history grew from selling vegetable seeds on to selling animal feed, and then towards the farming of animals, chicken, swine. And nowadays we have shrimp and fish as well.
Right.
And then it grew to further processing those livestock and aquaculture,
right,
and today towards retail. So for the past 100 years, from one small vegetable seed shop in Chinatown in Bangkok, CP Group is now in 8 business lines with 3 cores. So agriculture and food, retail, telecommunications. Those 3 main cores.
Wow.
Yeah. And we have about nearly 400,000 employees worldwide now.
Which is insane when you think about 2 brothers starting a company.
Yes.
Selling
yes.
fruit seeds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vegetables and fruit seeds.
Wow.
Yes.
So let's get back to this sustainability. So where does sustainability fit into those 3 benefit principles?
Sure. So the 3 benefit principles is, of course, our core, our foundation.
Right.
And sustainability really, before the term sustainability came about, the company has always been operating with that mindset.
That's interesting.
With that belief. So, for example, in the early days of the company, CP Group actually was the first company that placed expiration dates on its vegetable seeds for its customers. Because if you provide, low quality seeds for farmers, they won't get that crop. No. They will suffer.
That'll be crushing.
Yeah. So we were the first in terms of placing expiration dates.
So that before was regulatory necessary.
Yeah.
Did it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were the first in that. And through all those actions, when it comes to sustainability, you look at every area. So for example, as a company, you look at the in process of sustainability. What I mean by that is throughout the process from, production, logistics and everything, you look at how your company uses energy,
right?
How your company uses water. So all the utilities, all the production, least amount of waste, least amount of energy should be used and environmentally friendly. That's one part of sustainability. The other part is, of course, about corporate governance. How your company is managed in a proper way, in accordance to law, and even sometimes going above and beyond what's expected.
Right.
Yeah. So overall, when we look at sustainability, it's internally within your business and externally with the society and people that you affect and impact.
Why is this so important to you personally?
Personally?
Yeah. Why is this so important to you?
Well, personally to me, actually doing my bachelor's and master's. My bachelor's, I studied political science.
Okay.
And at that point in my life, I wanted to help people in a way in terms of policy, looking at policy, even going to government.
Right.
My father was a diplomat.
Oh, he was?
Yes.
Okay.
He's retired now, but he was a diplomat. And for my master's, I studied international affairs.
Fair enough.
So basically, personally, this was part of who I was.
Right.
In a world I understood.
Right.
But sustainability kind of went beyond that as well.
Enough, right?
Yeah.
Do you think, from your perspective, there's like a secular generational change taking place where things like, and not only these 17 Sustainable Development Goals, are just becoming more important to the younger generations? Can you sense that, particularly as new classes come into work?
Sure. Well, just to go back on the 17 goals, the UN Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 goals, were actually recently created.
I know.
It was in 2015.
Oh, was it just that recent?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It was 2015. Before that, it was known as the Millennium Goals.
Okay.
So it was an update by 193 members of the UN.
Right.
Came up with 2015 with a goal to accomplish those 17 goals by 2030, right?
Right.
So in that regard, it's something new. But in terms of secular and new generation and understanding of the SDGs, a lot more of the younger generations, the youth, actually do understand that and have learned about it, but not everybody.
Right.
And it's something that needs to be shared and communicated more about in terms of raising awareness.
Right. Yep. I mean, I think I may have mentioned this to you offline, but my daughter graduated from high school here with an IB baccalaureate degree, with an IB degree from NIST, right?
Yes.
So just one of the many amazing international schools that are in Thailand.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't know that as well. World-class education, amazing, right? One of the things they taught them was about these 17 SDGs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the 17 SDGs. It's now considered a universal call to action.
It should be.
So you have schools and institutions teaching about them and sharing about them more. But before that, even before the SDGs, in schools and classes, you learned that about global warming.
Fair enough.
You learned that in your science classes, in your history classes, because it's not just about their environmental aspects. It's not just about climate change.
Go ahead.
It's also about social development. It's about poverty.
Sure.
Before that, it was about famine in Africa.
Right.
That's where schools taught children.
So did you learn about this when you were in high school as well?
Not the SDGs, but
but these things.
Yeah, these things. Social sciences, history classes. Right. You cover everything. Wars, famine. Because at the end of the day, it goes back. The SDGs really focuses on a number of pillars. So you have people, you have planet,
right?
You have peace, you have prosperity,
right?
And then at the end of it is partnerships. So the main message, the main point the SDGs really is to cover these pillars,
right?
But you do it in a way that involves more than one party, because you need everybody else's help.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I say often is nobody succeeds alone.
Exactly.
I believe this very strongly, actually. Talk to me a little bit more. I think I diverted your attention from this, but talk to me a little bit more about a partnership. What does an ideal partnership look like to you? What does an ideal partner look like to you from a CP perspective?
Sure. So going back to global partnerships. So what the office I work at focuses on is building partnerships in regards to sustainability.
Okay.
So we are memberships of the World Economic Forum.
Okay.
We're memberships of the World Business Council for Sustainable Development.
Got it.
One Young World, UN Global Compact, and we work with a number of various UN agencies in that field. So what the company focuses on is how best can we work with global, local institutions, civil society,
right,
to really come up and create solutions. And when I talk about solutions here, I'm talking about how can business utilize what they're good at. So technology, technology, for example, maybe as we're in agriculture and food, how best can we minimize the use of water or fertilizers in farming for farmers, or how can we work with people to engage and use new technologies for precision farming in that regard.
Right.
So these are the examples, initiatives that we're trying to work with.
Okay.
And it's not only about projects, also policy as well. How can we work with local government in terms of improving and making it easier to come up with these solutions?
So as part of your job before COVID and obviously post-COVID as well, were you traveling a lot to other countries? You said earlier that CP operates in 21 countries.
Yes. Used to travel for 5 times a year.
Okay.
Yeah. Going around really to meet industry peers who are also part of this sustainability drive. Yeah.
Were the people that you were meeting from companies that weren't CP, were they surprised? Did they ever comment to you about how well you spoke English? You know what I mean?
They used to it now. Yes.
Yeah, they're used to it now, of course, because they know who you are.
Yeah.
We used to get this. I think I told you before, I lived in Japan for 22 years. And when I would travel with my Japanese colleagues, similar to you, right? They went to boarding school or whatever. They'd show up in meetings and just talk like this. And the other people that maybe had not met them before always said that. And you were like, well, I went to school at Andover kind of thing.
Understood. It's for us. Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny. Talk to me a little bit. Yesterday, there was an event here. I think it was yesterday. Is that true?
Saturday. Friday.
See, I told you. All the days sort of meld together. I'm here every single day. So on Friday, there was something that was called SDG Gamefest. Do I have that right?
Yes, that's
correct. So can you tell me what that is and what the event was about?
Okay.
And then just overall, what you expect the impact of that to be?
Well, the SDGs Gamefest, it's really the Sustainable Development Goals game festival, game competition.
Okay.
The main objective of this was really to create a competition for the public, anybody of all ages, to come in and design and develop a game about the SDGs, to teach about the SDGs,
Go ahead.
to raise awareness about the SDGs. Okay. And we wanted to create a competition that would be creative for all types. To state that, how can you develop a game,
right,
in a mobile game format that really teaches about the SDGs? Doesn't in a subtle way.
Right, I was going to say, not in a force it down your throat way, but just in a like maybe a game about farming. Or
because I mean the SDGs itself, it's 17 goals and 169 targets.
Right.
I mean,
not enough time to jam it down.
You can't jam that.
But you could create a great game. Sorry to interrupt, but you could create a great game about like if you save enough water or help the local environment or don't create waste, you get points and things like that.
Exactly.
That's super cool. And again, you're not forcing people to learn about it.
Yeah.
But you're just building a mindset around you win if you do this.
Yeah, that's true. And we the SDG Gamefest is exactly that. So the objective is to create a game for youth that will make it easier for them to understand the SDGs. And also what we wanted to do is to try to develop the Thai gaming industry.
Right.
Because part of this is for teams to apply, and we actually have through the process is we actually provided training programs online.
So how to build games?
Yep.
So what does that mean? How to write PHP code or how to code in Swift and stuff like that?
Not that much in detail, but to understand the structure and the framework.
Got it.
Of what's needed to develop the game.
Okay.
And there are hours and hours of that program that's provided for free. And also for game developers or people with ideas for SDG games to also learn about the SDGs. So we have content that's about how to develop a game and also content about the SDGs itself.
This is really cool. When did this roll out?
We started in November of last year.
Okay.
And just closed during mid-February. In terms of the applications, and we've had about 100 plus teams coming in.
And are all the teams in Thailand?
Yes, they're in Thailand.
Now. Is there like an age breakdown that you can share?
Actually, we had the youngest contestant, the youngest applicant we had was 12.
Okay.
And the eldest was 70.
70. I was going to say,
it was like members of the team, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was fascinating to see the wide range of people who have applied.
Well, that's exactly what you wanted to have happen.
Yes,
right?
yes, exactly.
Because if you do it just for kids, you're going to alienate all the adults that are there. And if
True.
you make it just for adults, you're going to alienate the kids. If you just do it for everybody.
True.
The other interesting thing about this, too, is that if you're including everybody in it, then the kids actually get to interact with the adults in a way that's professional.
Yes.
As opposed to being just bossed around. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. So
kind of cool.
So just to add to that, so people with ideas, you could just come in with the ideas when you apply. You don't have to know about game development. We actually have support when you go through. If you go through the further rounds, we actually have professional game developers to help make that idea sort of come to life when you're working on, your demo and beta testing and things like that.
So there have been a few good game companies that have been built in Thailand by some very famous entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Have you worked with any of them to help support this program?
Well, we actually have, we're actually working with a partner called True Axion. And True Axion actually develops games, and they are a partner in terms of consultation and providing knowledge and know-how and helping the developers. But what we're also doing is when it goes to the stage where final three teams, we'll actually be looking for indie gaming developing agencies. Indie is I'm talking about sort of not the professional big houses, but amateur. Amateur in order to provide them also with a platform to come in. So we want to support the indie gaming industry here as well.
I can definitely help you.
Yeah.
I have a couple of ideas. We can talk about it offline.
Yeah, sure.
So you operate in 21 countries.
Yes.
So you've rolled this out in Thailand.
Yes.
And it sounds like a great program, actually. I didn't know anything about this before. I mean, I know a little bit, but not a lot. But it sounds like a really interesting program. Do you consider rolling it out in some of the other countries where you're operating?
Maybe in the future.
It's a great initiative. Sorry. Go ahead.
Understood. That's it. What in terms of partners, we actually have a partner in the UN agency, UN Development Program.
UNDP.
And also the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in Thailand.
Got it.
So for our UN partner, we're looking to be able to develop a game good enough so that it can be shared through the United Nations network around the world.
That would be awesome.
So for youth, for kids to be able to learn and play under this platform.
And do you think that gamification itself, on the whole, is actually an effective tool for teaching? Like, have you done any studies on it, or have you looked at any of the research on this?
Sure. Well, gamification is really about, innovative education as an innovative educational tool.
I understand.
So gamification is creating that learning experience, that engagement for students even more.
Right.
And that's what we want to do.
I understand.
Yeah.
And if you believe that like single person shooter games are detrimental to somebody's mental health, right? And at the margin, I'm not saying it is, but if you believe that, and that at the margin, it can make somebody more violent than they would be necessarily, then you have to believe that if someone's playing a game that's focused on some of these development goals, it's going to have to switch something in their brain as well to say, these are the types of things on which you should focus. Is that fair?
I'm not saying shooting games are
Neither
violent.
am I.
Yeah,
Neither am I.
But we want to sort of create a new mindset for game developers. That you can also create games that are fun, and engaging, without having to resort to shooting and stabbing.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are games nowadays which are development and used for education. For example, Minecraft for education.
Right.
That's fun. Kids are into it. Lots of kids are into it. And even a number of mobile games where nowadays kids in classes can teacher can ask a question, kids can answer through their mobile, and it go up on the screen, the answers. Just like how we're using it here. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I hadn't thought about that.
Sort of like, you've heard of Mentimeter, right?
Yeah, of course.
So this is Mentimeter for classes.
But that's amazing, actually, because now it's almost like I used to do this thing like Soul Cycle.
Yeah.
And they would say, who's at the top of the list?
Yeah.
Kids would love this, I would think, where, wait, my name's at the top of the list?
Yeah.
They put my answer up there?
Yeah.
That's got to be super engaging for them, but also encourering them to learn in a way that maybe it's just sitting in a room and just getting lectured to doesn't facilitate.
Yeah. And it's I mean the one thing for something like Mentimeter is also anonymity.
Yeah.
So kids might not feel pressured to, if they I might answer the wrong question.
Sure, like, well, how does this feel? Do you remember this feeling? Okay, Ake. I want your answer to this math question. You're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And even if you did know, maybe you were afraid to say it.
Yeah, and you have that pressure, that peer
tons of pressure. And then if you get it wrong, your friends make fun of you later, and the teacher thinks you're like, all these bad things can happen.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody should, coddled. But what are we trying to accomplish here?
Exactly.
Are we trying to teach? And if we are, that's a great way to do that.
Yeah. So this is really it. Gamification it's really will be an educational tool for the future, if not it already is.
So how many teams are in the program now?
So
we're
over 100 applied, and we have cut it down to 20, and we have on Friday was the stage where 20 teams came to present their ideas.
That's what the event was.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yes. So now we will select from 20 down to a final 5.
Okay.
They will have some time to develop their ideas and develop a demo.
That's cool.
And then we'll select it from 5 to 3, and then final. The winner will be selected around July.
And were you excited about some of the teams that were here on Friday?
Oh yes, I was. A number of ideas. The panelists, selection committee were pretty blown away.
Really?
Yeah, we were surprised by the creativity, and really the ideas that came through. Yeah.
So as a follow-up to this conversation, what I'd love to do, if possible, is get the winner of that onto this show if they can.
Sure. I'm sure we can bring them up.
That would be super, just from an exposure standpoint, but also to have the conversation with them about what was it like going through this program? What did you learn? What did you gain? What was hard? All these kinds of things. But also to say, you didn't have a game before, and now you won this competition.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And we look at the end game. So hopefully, the winning team can produce a game by the end of next year, where we're planning to launch the Thailand Game Show in 2022.
What's that?
The Thailand Game Show. It's Thailand, one of ASEAN's biggest gaming shows. That's done during October, November.
So it's like CES for games or something.
Yeah, for Thailand.
That would be super cool.
Yeah. So hopefully we can launch it then.
Okay.
In 2022.
That would be super cool. Yeah, give us the links. We'll definitely share it with people. What do you think, before I let you go, what do you think is going to change the game in Thailand for sustainability and sustainable development?
Well, the key
Go for it.
of every success in sustainability is you can't do anything yourself or by yourself.
I agree.
At the end of the day, you have to work with government, you have to work with civil society, you have to work with academia. So through collaboration, whatever solutions you can come up with, you can have a bigger impact. You can have a bigger impact for who you're trying to help or what you're trying to achieve. And I just wanted to add one more thing.
Go for it.
I wanted to go back to the question you had is, is it secular? Does the next generation really care about sustainability?
Yeah.
I just wanted to share with you that, our company sponsors 20 under 30s youth every year, young leaders, to what's called the One Young World program.
Right.
And One Young World is a global forum where youth, under 30s meet up every year. So you have representatives from 190 plus countries, 2,000 to 3,000 of them.
Wow.
Every year gather in whatever country hosts it.
Right.
This year will be in Munich.
Is it going to be a physical event this year? Hoping.
Whoever can
go
at Munich can attend. Everybody else will be live.
Okay.
But we have been sponsoring 20 plus each year.
That's awesome.
Of our own employees and externally as well.
Right.
Because they care about the issues. And you have 2,000 plus young people coming in together.
Right.
Globally. And everybody wants to come in with a solution, try to help. And this is just inspiring.
Yeah, I also think it's really important at a young age, the younger the better, to get kids from different countries, different cultures, different backgrounds, different religions, different clothing, different everything together, so they can figure out before they get too old and too cynical. Yeah, that everybody kind of grows up wanting food, shelter, and have someone to care about them. Yeah, and that's core to everything. Yes, and because if the English used to do this, right? It didn't work so well back then, but it works much better today. You'd marry the French princess, so you'd stop fighting with the French if you were the English, right? But today, kids can communicate with each other after they leave this forum. Exactly. And the more they talk to each other, the more they realize, okay, the people in that country, whatever that country is, aren't scary. Yeah. And just because the food is different and the language is different doesn't mean we can't get along. Exactly. Really important. Yeah. So it's programs like this, and One New World is just one program, right? Where you could see that it's a mindset shift. Yeah. That whether the world they're in is actually there's more to just themselves. Right. Exactly. And they're just looking to help to find solutions to that. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. And that's a great way to end. Yeah. I want to thank you, Viranon Futrakul, a Vice President of Global Partnerships for Sustainability and Communication at Charoen Pokphand Group. I still can't get that right. Thank you for coming in and doing this today. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. TDPK Podcasts, Thailand GameChanger. Inside the minds of Thailand's innovators.